Well, with COVID rates high, a lot of parents are wondering why children are not going remote, or should they be?
Dr. Laura Saunders from the Institute of Living is here now as to why it is so important for children to remain in school during the pandemic. Hey, Doc, how are you?
Hello, friends, and happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. You're looking kind of dark there in your studio.
Are you watching it?
We're all adjusting to the changing expectations of life every moment.
Okay, well, we're here talking about COVID once again, and the kids.
A lot of people are nervous, but you say from a psychological perspective, we have learned by every marker that they should be in school.
So there's actually been some research done looking at how kids did for the year plus that they were remote or hybrid, and what they found is that they did poorly. Their learning, their social emotional well-being, it did not progress in a way that one would hope. And the concern is the either minority or low income or and some people who are fringe, like learning disabled or any needed IEPs, any kind of special education students, they did even worse than more typical functioning kids. So this is concerning. So I know that the numbers are high right now, and I know lots of people are concerned, and I do have tons of empathy for teachers because they're on the front lines as much as, nurses and other healthcare providers. But what we know is that kids do better academically, socially, and emotionally when they're in school and when that routine and structure is as consistent as possible.
What's scary about some of the statistics you sent us, the burden of missed time could linger for a lifetime. It's not just that 1 year period. This lingers over and carries with them throughout the rest of their life.
Like we're all thinking that they're just going to catch up in a couple months.
Right.
Right. And I always look at things from a developmental perspective, right? So a child who might be in second, third, or fourth grade has more time to make things up. But a child in seventh or eighth or ninth grade has less time. And those subjects in middle school, mostly high school, are really scaffolded, right? So if you miss most of Algebra 1, that's it. You've lost that foundational learning to build upon that. So it is worrisome. So what we need to do as much as possible is keep kids in school, do what we need to do to protect our teachers, and follow CDC guidelines. But I know there's lots of clamoring out there for students to go remote, but I, for one, am not in favor of that. It is not in their best interest. So many homes don't have the Wi-Fi, they don't have the resources, and it's just not going to be as good a learning experience, and it does affect them socially and emotionally as well.
And I saw my own kids, even if you are remote, you just do not learn the same way.
Right.
It's really hard to stay focused on a screen all day, and certainly math, I think that's a really hard subject. You also have noticed that the statistics have shown that we don't have a lot of transmission in the schools. It tends to be outside. So a lot of the schools are saying, well, if we put them remote, they're all going to gather on the weekends anyway.
Right. That's exactly, especially in high school, right? So let's not pretend that these kids are not going to get together on the weekends. I have a high schooler, and I know that she was getting together with friends on the weekends, even when they were remote. So let's not pretend that that's not happening anyway. So let's protect against it as best as possible. Listen, I had a niece that got sent out of school because there was a camera in her cafeteria that saw she had 18 minutes of unmasked time and was sitting next to someone who tested positive, right? So Big Brother's watching us. We know that. But what we need to do is try to keep kids in school as much as possible. We understand that there's a lot of hardships. We need to do things to protect our teachers. And I think our teachers really need more resources than what they're getting now. But I just keep coming back to the same thing. Socially and emotionally, the day-to-day structure of getting up and going to school is what's most beneficial. And that's what makes a snow day fun, is when you've been going to school consistently for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then boom, you have a snow day like Friday. That's fun. But when you're out of school for extended periods of time or doing things remotely, it's just not the same.
No, and again, we touched on this, but not only are we speaking educational, but socially,
Are you seeing?
You get the kids socialize the kids.
Right. And are you seeing? I feel like we're seeing and hearing about a lot more social emotional difficulties at school right now.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking about this yesterday because this is what I think about in my spare time, of what the effect of masks are, right? Mm-hmm. So if we're looking at potentially long periods of time, we're talking years, I hate to even say it out loud, of kids being in school with masks. And if that's what they need to do to be in school, then that's what they need to do. But the way that it affects your read of social skills, right? So you're missing, you can see the sparkle in someone's eye, but you're missing so much of facial expression and other things. But I understand if that's what we need to do, that's what we need to do. But just think about how that's going to affect kids developmentally. Mm-hmm. In a group, we had to go remote for a week. And, I had a group member say, oh, my God, I didn't know what everyone's faces looked like. Right. I mean, that's just amazing. That what our young people are experiencing that we never had to experience.
Right.
Well, I know this has been a very serious topic, but I want to thank you because I pretended the whole time that you were on planet Mars, and it made me happy.
I prefer to be on Venus. Thank you.
Yes, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Dr. Laura, I know we're out of time now. I want to suggest, I think Scott might need his own special sessions with you.
Yeah, I think Scott might need to have a discussion about Elio's Pizza.
Exactly. Thank you. All right, we'll catch up with you next week.
Take care.
All right, goodbye.
Love when you reveal what's really going on in your head.